Nonviolence is a very non-functional approach in a society that's based entirely on organized force and violence. A country was created in violence, land was taken in violence, society that's perpetuating itself through violence in the ghettos, in Vietnam, in Africa, wherever you look. There's organized force and violence at work to maintain the society. There's a world of difference between 20 million unarmed people and 20 million people organized and armed to the gills. That's power.
Should minors be allowed to transition?
Minors should be allowed to do what their parents allow them to do. They don't do it while they're under your roof. They're going to do it later.
But there are instances where people detransition. How can we protect trans youth that do regret their decision and want to detransition?
You make your decisions, and then you decide to make another decision. That's just life. Did you know last year 3,000 people under the age of 18 got breast implants? And that's not transitions. 200 kids last year medically transitioned, and 3,000 got titties.
Okay, I need to talk about this I'm not like other girls epidemic.
No, you don't. This so-called epidemic you're describing is rooted in misogyny and comes from people's desire for male approval. As a man, it is absolutely not your place to chastise women for doing something that is a result of a power structure that you benefit from. It's okay not to share your opinion on everything.
So this is awkward. I had no idea, so I looked it up after seeing this comment, and sure enough, it is a...
Okay, so as a Romani person myself, yes, the word gypsy is very much a racial slur. It was created as a slur for Romani people, which is a completely different and unrelated ethnic group to Romanians. And accountability and owning up to your mistakes is always a good thing. What this creator did should be the bare minimum. However, all the comments saying, oh, it's not a slur, or just recently became one because of this generation. Let me educate you a little bit on the history of it. When Romani people first entered Europe, they stood out for their dark skin and foreign features. These attributes were also used by Europeans to justify enslaving Romani people for over 500 years and treating us as property. The word gypsy comes from the misconception that we come from Egypt because of these features. Now you may be wondering, why didn't they just call us Egyptians? Well, they did. Gypsy was a racial slur version of that. It was and still is used as a way to dehumanize Romani people. And no, the word's meaning has not changed, as every single use of the word ultimately goes back to harmful depictions of Romani people in our culture. And Romani people have been saying all of this for literally over a century. It's not anything new and it does not vary on country or region. No, Romani people aren't too soft or too sensitive for calling out a racial slur that has caused so much damage to our people in our communities. Try living as a dark-skinned Romani person in Eastern Europe for a week and then tell them they're being too sensitive. As this creator shows, you don't have to be offended by learning that a word is a racial slur. Educate yourself, take accountability, and move on.
Characters that are dwarfism coded, part 2. Literally any version of Mario and Luigi. Mario is a grown man, yet he is significantly shorter than Princess Peach. He also has a huge head. The only reasonable explanation is that Mario and Luigi both have achondroplasia dwarfism.
Does she not know what melanin is?
So there are melanated people who don't know that some of us highly melanated folks have pigmentation everywhere on the body that can possibly hold pigmentation. Like, it's the reason that some of us have two-tone lips and dark gums and even some spots on our eyes, the brown and gray, not the red are veins. Even my palms. No, the lines on my hands are not any deeper than they are on anybody else's, but they're pigmented. That's brown you're looking at, which is why you can see all the lines in my hand. Melanin distributes everywhere that melanin wants.
Good morning, my dudes, dudettes, and doodles. Wouldn't you like to know what's under this bonnet? Well, I finally tackled a hairstyle I've been wanting to do forever. Sparkle braids. I've seen this trend many times on TikTok. I thought it was magical and mythical and wonderful and goddess-like, and I needed it like yesterday. I just want to know why it took me 3 days. 3 days! I don't think I've ever braided my hair for longer than a day and a half. But this beast? To create sparkle braids, you need tinsel hair. The link is in my bio to find it on Amazon. If you're going for something subtle, then 1 or 2 packs work for you. I didn't go for subtle. I should have got 3 packs. But hey, it is what it is. Overall, my goal for the braids was butt length, medium, knotless, sparkle braids. I love a challenge. I also tried pre-parting for the first time. The way that slowed down my whole process by like 20,000. My hair may look short, but it's really thick. And on the first day, I only ended up getting through like the back. before I just tapped out and was like, I'm exhausted. The second day I woke up and was like, word, let's do this. But if you've done your own braids before, you know when you get to that middle part, it's like it's never ending. My arms were aching, my hands were cramping. I remember it reaching 4 a.m. and me just being mad. Like, it's day 2, my hair is not even close to being done, and it's bloody 4 a.m. But it's fine. I woke up nice and refreshed the next morning. No matter what, I was finishing that day. If braiders' prices weren't absolutely insane, I would have given up halfway through and gotten my hair braided. And besides, I like doing things myself. And finally, after 3 days, and after braiding and braiding, a little bit of crying, I finally finished braiding. Immediately, I grabbed some scissors and trimmed the end. Because somehow it went from butt length to like knee length. I don't want all that. I cut off all the flyaways. After a quick Google, I found out that hot water does not melt tinsel. So I dipped my hair, used nail glue to glue the ends of the hair so I wouldn't have to worry about it unraveling. And this is the final look. I'm obsessed with it. It may have taken me 3 days, but it was totally worth it.
Hi friends, this is just a little reminder that every time you interact with creators that are different than you are making this app more inclusive. I know I say that all the time, but I really just want to encourage you that your views, your interaction really makes a difference in somebody's life, and it really makes media more inclusive. So thank you. Have a great day. Do you see the wind is like blowing my hair? It's magical. Anyways, side note. Have a great day. Thank you for your interaction. It goes a really, really long way. Love you. Have a great day. Remember to be courageously kind.
Mutual aid, also known as community building, this is the what, this is the why. Happy Mutual Aid May. For Mutual Aid May, I'm reading Mutual Aid by Dean Spade. I said May, it's going to be mutual aid until whenever we're done with this book. Mutual aid, also known as community building, okay? Mutual aid is not new. This is not the first time someone has written about this. The book acknowledges this. Mutual aid has been called lots of different things over lots of different communities over lots of different time periods. But remember, when we critically analyze a text, we think about who wrote it, for what purpose, for what audience, and what's missing. Dean Spade is an author, trans activist, lawyer of 20 years who believes in the limits of the law, meaning that we build a world that we want for ourselves. Every kind of pushback we give on an oppressing government is eventually going to take their shit back as best as possible. It's like car insurance. The book was written for Western philosophies and audiences that are pushing back against oppressive governments. So mutual aid, terms like that, very, very useful for us. What we need to understand is this remains the same. Dean Spade is also American, and community building in America is very hard. The systems that we have, the structures that we're in, even the physical way that they have colonized the land makes it really, really hard to build community that sustains itself. The reason we build mutual aid networks, efforts, strongholds is so that we have community that sustains itself, that can keep going. This is where the what and the how converge. Mutual aid is mutual. It is person to person, okay? There is a back and forth here. Mutual aid is mutual. Mutual aid is not charity, some big wig, I make it squares. There we go. Some big wig person that has lots and lots of money that stays circulated up here, goes round and round in a circle. This is how we build stable structures, okay? For my visual learners. This community, okay? Fortresses. We're in this together. Mutual aid is mutual. Mutual aid is not charity, where a lot of the money stays up concentrated for bigwigs, and then some of it comes down to us. That's one way. Okay, first thing, mutual aid is for community building. That's hard, so we do it together. Mutual aid is mutual. It is not charity that goes from top to bottom. It's so that we can build structures that continue to last. Then the what of mutual aid does two big things. It puts people into direct practice. It puts people into direct practice with their politics. Excuse my friend, I only write pretty in cursive. And it engages us in significant resistance. It engages us in significant resistance. Your politics should compel you to action, and politics that builds community engage in significant resistance, significant pushback from state structures.
A little bit more time on what, but that's a good start. is America, Lois. Men have always run things, and there have never been any problems whatsoever. And don't say the economy or Iraq or income inequality or racism or Brett Kavanaugh or air pollution or Vietnam or slavery or Watergate or capitalism or Me Too or homelessness or police brutality or homophobia or Monica Lewinsky or school shootings or Native American genocide or Fox News or Tim Allen or climate change.
If you had to guess, how many brands do you think are actually in the cereal aisle?
Well, you know me. Hit up the cereal aisle, snap some photos. So we'll walk our way down the aisle and see how many companies actually control this. Well, Cheerios is easy to start. Cheerios is General Mills. So we'll color all of the different types of Cheerios red for General Mills. But hold up. Turns out Chex is also General Mills. And so is Kix. And so is Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So far, the only spots that are not red are Winco's own brand name cereals. Looking down the aisle, this is where we left off. They also got Reese's Puffs, and also Cocoa Puffs and Trix. Oh yeah, and they got Kix and Lucky Charms too. But hey, at least we got these natural cereals up here that are healthy. Psych, those aren't healthy, and they ain't that natural, and those are owned by General Mills as well. But when I moved down the aisle, I found Kellogg. Corn Flakes is Kellogg, and so are all of those cereals. But hey, at least we got this natural panda stuff and Kashi up here, keeping it real. Psych! Kashi is owned by Kellogg, baby. But this is its own deal, and we will talk about them at the end. They might be our only bastion of hope in the entire cereal aisle, we'll see. All right, we're gonna speed up and move down the line. This is more Kellogg stuff. But now we got Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles, and yeah, that's right, all that shit's owned by Post. Still, except for that one little panda brand, all these gaps are just Winco's generic brands. Moved on down the line to the end of the Post section, and we found Captain Crunch. And Captain Crunch is owned by PepsiCo. But now we come to Quaker Oats up there. Turns out Quaker Oats owns Life cereal. Right on, we got a little bit of diversity in the end of the aisle. Psych! Guess who owns Quaker Oats, baby? Damn straight. End of the aisle is all PepsiCo, except for one asshole that put this box of General Mills cereal back in the wrong place. Shame on you, shame. So in the cereal aisle, we got General Mills is red, Kellogg is blue, purple is Post, and orange is PepsiCo. Who do you think are the biggest stakeholders of those companies? That's right, baby. It is BlackRock and Vanguard at the top of all of those lists, with the exception of the Kellogg Foundation, which was set up a long time ago with a bunch of the shares of the founders. So when we look at who owns the biggest stake in all these brands, what does the cereal aisle actually look like? It looks like the BlackRock and Vanguard aisle. Except for this panda cereal, it's from Hive Brands. We believe that using business as a force for good is a responsibility for all of us. This mission keeps us going, along with the conviction that big corporations aren't going to save us or solve our problems. It's up to us. It's good talk. Now, I'm not necessarily saying you can't buy any of those cereals or anything. I just thought you should know. As for Hive Brands, I don't know. The real test is once they get real big, do they sell out or do they stay cool? We'll see.
Doc, I'm non-binary. I don't want the full masculinization. Do you do radical breast reductions for non-binary folks? Yes. In fact, it's fairly common. Some of my non-binary patients just don't identify as male or female, but sometimes they're somewhere in between. And what they want is an A-cup chest versus a masculine chest. I always ask my patients to bring a photo, and the photo tells me the shape that they're looking for. So bring a photo, and then we can design the chest that best fits your goals on your body.
I love to see you eating more vegetables. Salads are so nutritious. What if we also add some chicken and some bread? That way you get protein and carbs, your body gets more nutrients, and you feel more satisfied. Whole wheat bread is very nutritious, but that doesn't mean you can't have white bread too. Remember, there are no good or bad foods. Oh, you're full? That's okay. You don't have to finish it right now. We can save it for later. Listen to your body.
Today's sign is sit.
The correct way is not. Hope I help.
I think my least favorite kind of person in the world is people who shit on homeless people for no fucking reason, dude. They're always like, oh, they're gonna buy crack if you give them money. They're gonna go buy drugs. Don't get me wrong, some homeless people are gonna buy drugs if you give them money. But dude, like, I was just chilling in the Dairy Queen parking lot, dude. I was doing this, like, this shit where you can see your phone because the sun's in your fucking eyes and you need to, like, darken it, right? When your phone's hot as hell, like microwave heat. Homeless dude comes up, knocks on my fucking window. I have to open my door because my window doesn't work. I busted it, right? But trying to fix my fucking radio, I ruined all my doors. And I open it, and he's like, hey man, I'm hungry. Can you give me 50 cents for some bread from Save-A-Lot? And I'm like, oh, sorry, I don't have cash, man. Because I don't keep cash on me. I keep card, right? I'm ready to just go bankrupt at any moment. Then I remembered I got this fucking Taco Bell cup broken full of like 100 quarters, right? So I gave that motherfucker like a fistful of quarters. I don't even know how many I gave him. I just like gave him a big fucking wallop of them, right? I see him going to Save-A-Lot, come out with bread, bologna, cheese. And I know that motherfucker made some mean ass sandwiches with it. He didn't even need to thank me. I just saw him walking out with the cheese. I hate it whenever motherfuckers tell you, don't give money to homeless people. You know, if you give them $1, if they ask you for $1, they're probably gonna go buy crack. Listen, dude, I'm not a crack expert. Do you think crack is a fucking dollar? Really? You think crack and meth would be in business if they were a fucking dollar? If a dude walks up to you and he goes, hey, I don't have a home, I'm hungry, I'm starving, can I have $1 for a cheesy roll-up from Taco Bell? They're probably gonna get a fucking cheesy roll-up from Taco Bell, okay? I know the dehumanization of homeless people is to the point where you just don't acknowledge them, you don't even look at them, you act like they don't exist, and then if you do acknowledge they exist, you go, oh, hey, it's better if we don't give him money. He's probably gonna go buy bath salts and go on a rampage. No, they're probably gonna go buy fucking bread because they're hungry. I hate that shit. It pisses me off so much, man. It's such like basic human decency. And these are the same motherfuckers that'll go through the McDonald's line and their total is like $11.91. And they're like, hey, do you want to round up to $12? 9 whole cents? And you feel like a fucking superhero when you donate it. And that shit doesn't even go to charity either. It goes back to fucking McDonald's to like reimburse them for something they already did. That shit's so bullshit, and then you won't give money to a homeless person. I'm not saying you have to give money to homeless people, but do not villainize them because you don't want to give them money. If you don't want to give a homeless dude money, just say, oh yeah, I just don't want to give him money. That's fine. That's okay. You're not like lacking humanity for not giving homeless people money, but you are lacking humanity for seeing a homeless person going, oh, I'm not going to give him money because he's probably going to go fucking do crack in the alley. No, dude, he's probably going to eat. He's probably going to get a fucking water because it's 110 degrees out and his throat feels like fucking gravel.
Oops, got what you're attracted to. Let's see what it is. Oh my god.
It's not nice to call someone racist. We throw that word out to white people.
I was talking to Makai Valentine about this video today, and he said something interesting, which is that if black people who speak up for us aren't the most eloquent and understanding people who talk about our issues in a very specific way that shows no animosity from generational trauma or just existing in a world where whiteness is the default and you as a black person have to face the repercussions of that, then you will get tone police into the ground and people will say shit like, it's not nice to call someone racist, even though what she said in the video wasn't that far off. Because anti-blackness is global and normal, and yet not everyone's born racist, but literally everyone in some way, shape, or form has been indoctrinated into becoming anti-black, into adhering to white supremacy. So it's not that far off when someone says that, hey, all people can be racist, because yeah, like, what the fuck do you think implicit bias is? But nah, you can just get on the internet, say that it's not nice to call someone racist, and get 2 million fucking likes, like,
Things aren't that bad. A trans woman got elected into the House in Montana. What's that? Oh, Republicans just voted to ban her. Hey, what do you call it when a minority alt-right party uses their supermajority in 30-something states to pass over 469 pieces of legislation targeting 0.004% of the population based on something out of their control? A group that uses nostalgia as the basis of their political ideology and who blames all of their problems on people who aren't like them. So Montana was using their legislative time not to help the people of Montana, but to force the 5 trans children that live in their state to detransition because their culture war is more important than those kids' lives. And the one trans representative in the House said that this was wrong and that there would be blood on their hands. So they took away that trans woman's ability to speak. And then when the people arrived in the House to protest this, they voted to censure her and remove her from the House. What reason did they give for this? Oh, she broke decorum. Oh, decorum, you inscrutable thing, you. That thing that never seems to be broken except when a non-white man steps up to the plate. I don't think pointing out hypocrisy does anything to these people, but they have been misgendering her the entire time that they just screamed about decorum. I think the wildest part of all this is all the white women who were in my comments defending the very men stripping them of their rights. I get that your extremely fragile sense of femininity was shattered the first time a trans man said chest feeding, and that the only way for you to feel like a woman is to make sure that they don't get to call themselves one. But by aligning yourselves with the people attacking them, you're also stripping yourself of your own rights. What a silly thing you're doing. Please stop. And to all the people who say there's no such thing as trans kids, then why are there 469, yes, I see the funny number too, bills targeting them, if they don't exist? Also, we did this with gay kids. Everyone was like, that doesn't exist either. And then Glee made it popular. Is that what you need? Do you need some not very good Fox show to have a trans teenager who makes you realize that they exist through the power of not very good covers? I saw them live in concert when I got back from the war, so, like, all of my insults are really just against myself. Oh, God, it shouldn't be the point, because you should just care that children are being targeted by the government. But you know they're not just going to stop with trans people, right? You know they're going to keep moving to the next smallest minority group until they get to yours. Oh, how wonderful. I just realized that my comments won't be in sync today because Tucker Carlson didn't give out the evening's orders last night. How fun.
I know when I say all men, y'all like to come in my comments and say this, like it's a gotcha. But to answer your question, as a white bitch who lives in America, in the Bible Belt, yes. Like, do you think racism just disappeared overnight when black people were given their human rights back? That includes laws as well. No, it didn't just disappear. It's just trickled down.
Editors. His, you know.
Right, well, so the layman's term for what you both have is jockage. It's common if you spend a lot of time in damp clothes, and it's easily transferable via intercourse. I'll give you an antifungal cream, but you both have to keep the area dry and avoid sex for 2 weeks.
these are my lobotomy tools. I had a really
Holy white feminism, Batman. There's this cultural picture of lobotomies that revolves around white housewives, this bell jar, Stepford wives picture of mental illness. It's completely true that lobotomies were disproportionately performed on women, even though in the early 1900s the majority of institutionalized people were men. Up to 75% of lobotomies were performed on women. The quote-unquote heyday of lobotomies, when the majority of lobotomies that took place on white women were performed, lasted only a few years. It was a very brief period, roughly 1949 to 1952. But black people and gay people were lobotomized as early as the 30s and all the way through to the 1970s for absolutely sickening reasons. Black children as young as 5 years old were lobotomized without consent and without knowledge for behavior that white doctors perceived as aggressive. This is not ancient history. These are people who would be in their 50s and 60s today. Lobotomies were billed as a crime reduction tool in the 70s. It was encouraged to lobotomize black people to reduce crime, and gay people were lobotomized in an attempt to cure their deviancy. Walter Freeman was one of the most prominent American lobotomists. You cannot read about lobotomies in America without seeing the name Walter Freeman. He specifically actively sought out African American women as patients in order to experiment on them. He tried to run an experiment at a VA hospital in Tuskegee, Alabama on black patients and was rightly barred from doing so. They banned him from doing the procedure. He tried to make his entire career on experimenting on black people. Throughout medical history, and absolutely still today, there's a common theme of white doctors assuming that black patients don't feel pain, not to the same degree that white patients do. Black women especially have been involuntarily used as test subjects for as long as white men have dreamed of being doctors. By the way, lobotomies are still legal in the US. With the way things are politically progressing today, I would not be surprised to see a resurgence of involuntary psychosurgery. We cannot pretend that lobotomies are isolated to a brief period of American history, and we cannot pretend that the biases that led to forced lobotomies on black people and gay people do not still exist in the medical field today.
Shit like this brings the movement down. Everyone's a feminist until there is a spider around.